Look, I'm just trying to say it's my fault because I play a few dollars every week on the horses.
A few dollars?
Well, okay, maybe more than I ought. We're not starving. I win a few, I lose a few.
You win a few, you lose a lot.
Hey everybody, Derek Simon with Database Betting, and I had a couple things I wanted to talk about today. First of all, I do want to talk about the March Madness tournament, so I've got some great stats for you guys to think about. I'm also going to have some free reports at my website, databasebetting.com, so check those out. But just yesterday, or I don't know, maybe it was a week ago, maybe it was a month ago, nobody really knows. But I heard somebody talking about horse racing and the fact that in turf races, class typically wins. Now, this was a theory that was first put forth, at least I first read it from James Quinn, and the guy that I heard it from just recently was talking about how there had been studies done. And I'm kind of scratching my head thinking, I don't think there have been any studies done. Why don't I do a study? So I did. I wanted to find out if class was more important in turf races than in dirt races or races on synthetic tracks. And the funny thing about this is, just like so many racetrack truisms, the exact opposite turned out to be true. So I measured class in a couple ways. The first way was looking at the horse's last 3 races and getting an average purse value. So based on that metric, here's what I found. In dirt races, 21% win percentage, minus 21% ROI. In synthetic races, 19.5% win rate and a minus 25% ROI. And in turf races, the worst figures of them all, 16.8% winners and a minus 27% ROI. The next way I looked at class was to look at the average earnings per start. This is a very popular metric, so I did that, and again, I looked at dirt, turf, and synthetic races. And mind you, this was a massive, massive study. We're talking about 100,000 total entries that I looked at. So in dirt races, for the top earnings per start horse, minus 19% ROI, 25% win rate. Sorry, I did that in reverse order. Practically 26%, 25.8%. In synthetic races, a 23.4% win rate, minus 19.7% ROI. And in turf races, once again, the worst figures of the set, 21.4% win rate and a minus 19.9% ROI. I'm not sure if I said the dirt ROI complete, because these numbers were very, very close, but a negative 19% ROI for dirt. Now, there is something to keep in mind when I talk about those figures. You know, I always have preached how you have to look at the context when you're looking at statistics. It is logical to me that turf races would have more horses in them than synthetic races, which would have more horses in them than dirt races. I didn't check that, but the thing that argues against it is that the ROI numbers are still lower. If you had that situation where it was just field size, you would expect the win rate to go down, but the ROIs would basically stay the same. So in terms of a betting angle, this makes no sense at all, because it shows that the horses, whether it's dirt, turf, synthetic, and regardless of field size, these horses are getting bet. So I wanted to now look at some March Madness stats and some really interesting stuff here. I just didn't have the time to go through and handicap any games. I did yesterday, and Houston pulled away nicely in the second half as a 4-star play. Kansas lost as a 1-star play. But I wanted to give you guys some numbers to look at when you look at these reports, or you just look at the games in general. So one of the things I looked at was a line change of 3 points or more when the horse, see, there I go again, when the team is an underdog on my fair odds line. Nearly 60% wins, 55 to 60%. The sample size on this was a little small, so that's why I give the range there, about 55 to 60% if there's a plus 3 point change or more, and that's looking at the opening line to the closing line. So kind of interesting. You know, people always talk about smart money and stuff, and I've Found that that's another one of those myths. Most of the time, if you're getting a better price, that's a better deal than when a team, horse, whatever, is going to post or to opening tip-off or opening kickoff as the big favorite. Another thing to look at, that was a mouthful. Should have found an easier way to say it. Anyway, looking at, this is the tournament as a whole. I looked at teams with a positive point differential, which, by the way, that is going to be true of most of these teams. That's the difference with March Madness as opposed to just the regular season. Most of these teams are very, very good. So I looked at teams with a positive point differential that were an underdog. And I found that the under in that case covered or hit 55.7% of the time. The greater the team was an underdog, the higher that percentage. Now, that is such a simple approach that I wanted to take a look at this year's tournament and see, what was going on, and I was shocked by what I found. First of all, in terms of favorites and underdogs, and this is against the spread, so this is whether they cover or not. 23 favorites have won, 21 underdogs have won. And by that I mean cover the spread. I'm not talking about outright wins here. In terms of the over-under, get this, and mind you, most of these games would have qualified on that metric I just gave, that you're looking for a team that's an underdog on my fair odds line but has a positive point differential. Most of the teams in the tournament would have qualified. So far, there have only been 13 overs and 30 unders. So definitely keep that in mind. Again, I think this is too simplistic to apply all the time, but I do think it's a very interesting way to look at the games. And definitely you want to shade toward the under in most cases. So just some food for thought there in both horse racing and also in college basketball. Remember to go to my website, databasebetting.com, like this video, share this video, proclaim the brilliance of the contents from your nearest rooftop. That's a little excessive, but anything you can do helps. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching.